Hello guys, welcome to Mbel-Techyz. So in this video we'll be designing a registration form using HTML and CSS. So this form has some over effect. When you over on it, it changes background color on these social media icons also. So we'll be implementing some icons, and the icons we'll be using is Font Awesome. We'll be using Font Awesome. Don't worry if you don't know how to use Font Awesome, just follow along. I will make a video on how you can use Font Awesome, how to download, how to implement, and how to use it perfectly. Alright, so let's get started. So right now I'm on my desktop, and in my folder I have a folder here, register form. So when I open it, I have my Font Awesome icon, Font Awesome folder, and my HTML file. So let me just open it with VS Code. So you right click and open with VS Code. So now on my HTML, I just have to call my HTML document type. It's still loading. Alright, so it's up. So I'll change the title to registration form using HTML and CSS. Alright, registration form. Right, so I will be structuring the HTML first before going to the CSS. So let me just start with a class of wrapper, a div with a class of wrapper. So inside my wrapper, I will have a form wrapper, also a div with a class of form wrapper. Alright, so in my form wrapper, let me have the title. So title should be register. So and then after register, let me add horizontal row. Right, so after that, let me add, what's it called, let me make this this title, let me make it to be in a div, in a separate div. So let me just cut it and say I'm just use let me say form title, form dash title, then I'll paste it inside this place. All right, so after the form title, the next one we are going to go into is the form input. So still inside the form wrapper, don't forget we're working with the form wrapper. So let me add the form input, the input. So inside the form input, let me have the input field, a class of input field. Oops, boom. So inside my input field, let me have a row field class, row field. So in the row field, let me add my input, so type of text. Then let me add the placeholder. Placeholder should be, for the first one will be name. Right, so let me add the Font Awesome. Before adding the Font Awesome, I have to link my Font Awesome file to my page. So I'll use my link. So I have my folder, so // into my folder, calling my folder Font Awesome underscore CSS all.css. Now I've linked my CSS, my Font Awesome CSS file. Now I can just call it like this. So for the first one, I want to use I want to use something like this. So what I'll be doing is, like, the icon name, or the Font Awesome name for this icon is user. So I'll just declare it in a span tag, and span, then add the class of fa-fa space user. So let me right click and open the result, view the result in my live server. Boom. All right, so we can see the result. The result is here, but my icon is not showing. Let me see what I missed. I don't know what I missed. If not, so then let me add another. Let me replace it. Let me delete this font awesome. While deleting it, all right, so it can't delete because I've opened it in my VS Code. So what I just have to do is to replace it with another. So let me just copy this and paste it here. So while it's still pasting, let's continue. So my row feed here, let me just duplicate this and add more fields. So I'll add a field for email and my password. So this should be email and this should be password, and the type here should be what? Type password, not text, and this here should be email, type email. All right, it's almost done. So now after that we are going to add the button. Let's view the results. So we're having the result is still showing up. Now let's add our button. Okay, replace. All right, so it's up and I think this should work now. All right, so it's now working perfectly. Now let me just change this to email and password, these icons. So my span for the second one, this should be envelope, and this should be lock. All right, so yes, boom, is up now. All right, we are to add the button next. So let's add the button. So I'll create a div of btn. So in my btn I'll have a button of type submit. So we should be, the placeholder will be register. So all right, I think we are good with that. So before adding the social media icons, let me start the CSS. Let's start the styling. So I'll implement my CSS here. So I'll just first create my CSS. I'll just name it, let me name it register form.css. Now I'll hover my cursor on it, then I'll click on follow link, create file. So when I create my file is created. So let me just split my screen and let me shrink it a bit. Alright, so let me still shrink it a bit. Alright, so let me start with this. So margin 0, padding 0, then box sizing should be border box, then the body, let me give it background of linear gradient, let me give it to left, comma hashtag, let me give it ff0000 comma hashtag 0ac863, then hashtag of let me just something like blue should be, let me have 0000ff. Right, then let me give it height of 100 vh. All right, so let me right click and display the result. So we have this as our output. So let's continue with our css. So let me start the wrapper now. Dot wrapper. Let me give it display of flex, justify content center, align items center, then all right, so let me give it height of 100 vh also, so that it will come down, to push it down. Right, so now to the form wrapper. So I'll say dot form wrapper dot form wrapper. I'll give it background of white. Let's give it width of 200 and maybe let's 280 pixels. Then height, no, don't let us give it height, let our content give it height itself. So we have this, then let me give it padding. Let me give padding of 30 pixels. Let's give it border radius of 15 pixels. All right, so let's add the box shadow 00 space 5, or let me make it 10 pixels black. So the shadow is showing here, so you can see the shadow. All right, so that's that for the form wrapper. Now let's go to the form input. That's we want to style this whole content. So dot form input, form dash input, let's give it display of flex. Let's justify it to the center. Let's align it to the center. And let me give it flex direction colon, so that it will flex direction colon. All right, so now let me start with the title. Let's go into the title. Let's give it font size of 22 pixels. All right, so let's give it font weight of bolder or bold. Let's change the color to, let's give it color of let's give it, let me give it 0a4f4f. Right, so and let's align it to the center. Text align center, and font family should be Calibri. Right, so that's for the title. And now let's start the row fields. So dot row field should have background of let's something gray, gray, like a gray color. Let me just give it, let me say gray for now. All right. And row. Okay, row should be row field, not dash field, not dot. All right, so it's working. Let me make it like a light gray. So let me just drag it up a bit. All right. So I think we are good this way. Now let me add padding to it. Padding of let me give it top and bottom should have 10 pixels, while left and right should have 7 pixels. All right, so let me give it margin. Top and bottom should have 7 pixels, while left and right should have nothing. And let me add border radius. Border radius of let's give it 20, let's give it 10 pixels. So all right, so this is now cool. All right, so let's style the input field, like this guys, this input areas. So let's style it. Let's go back to our code. So let's do .row field space input. That is the input of the row field. And let me give it border none. The border, you shouldn't have any border none or border 0. So there's no border again. Let's give it height. Let's give it height of 20 pixels. Then let's also add let's remove the background. Background should be none. It shouldn't have background. All right, so now let's go over to the button. Let's style the button, so which is .btn space button. Now I'll give it background of hashtag. Oh, let me give it background of cyan. I have a color of cyan that I love using. Now let me remove the border. Border should be none. Border should be none. Then let me give it padding of 7 pixels top and bottom, while give it 40 pixels left and right. Let's give it font size of 15 pixels, and let's give it font weight of bold. Right, let's also give it font family Calibri. Calibri is one of the best fonts I love using, and the font is actually so cool. All right, so text color should be white. That's the color, hashtag FFF. All right, so then border radius, BD radius, let's give it border radius of 20 pixels, and boom. So it's cool. Now let's center it. Let's bring it to the center. So we are going to center it using the parent, which is btn. So just text align center, text align center. Oops, what am I typing? Right, so we have the button to be in the center. So now let's add over effect to this button. So when we over on it, we have a background color should change. So it's going to be .btn button colon hover. then I'll give it background of hashtag. Let me give it 0a, let me 0a 4f 4f. So the same background we gave to this, the same color we gave to this. So when you hover on it, you can see it's changing color. Now let's go over to the social media icons that is at the bottom. So that is going to be outside the, is going to be outside the input field, that is the form field. So let's trace it here. So let's add our social media icon. So to be, let's give it media icon, media dash icon icons. So inside it, let's have our, let's have dot icon. So dot icon. So all right, now I'm going to have 3 icons. So this one should have id of Facebook. So let me give it Facebook FB. Then inside it, I'll have my class of my font awesome, which is FA space FA. No, since it's social media icon, it should be FAB, then FA space FA dash Facebook. Right, so it's up. Now let me duplicate this 1, 2 more. So this should be Twitter, and this should be Google Plus. All right, so it's up. Then let me change this ID to Twitter, TW and GP. Right, so I think we're good for that. Now let's style our media icons. Let's go over to our CSS here and style our media icons. So it's going to be dot media dash icons. First of all, let's just give it display of flex first to align it side by side. Right, so and let's justify it to the center. Now let's give it margin, let's give it only margin. Let's add some margin. Let's say margin should be 20 pixels, 0, then 0. Okay, now we'll add some margins to this guy, so which is our icon. So let's start our icon now. Dot icon, let's also give icon a margin left and right. So only left and right. Let's give it 10 pixels. All right, so it has spaced it a little bit. And let's give it a border. So let's make this 3 pixels. Then the color should be, let's say B4 AD. Right, now let's give it padding. I think it's good we give it padding of maybe 5 pixels. All right, so let's give it border radius, BD radius of 50%, so that it will be curved, it will be circle. Now can you see it's not centered? The icons are not centered, so let's center it. So let's give it display of flex, justify content center, then align items center. Now it's centered. You can see now it's centered. So let's also give our icons color, which should be gray. All right. All right, so we have this result. Now what we need to add next is our over effect. So when we over anything, you should change colors on these icons. So let's go over. So we are going to target each one of them with their ID. So the first one is the Facebook, which is ID. So we use hashtag .fb colon hover. Then I'll give it color. Let me give it color of blue. Then the border itself should have a color also. So let me give it 3 pixels, solid blue. So when I over on it, it's going to change. So remain for Twitter and the Google Plus. So let me just copy this and duplicate it 2 more time. So I'll change this guys to TW. Then I'll change the color over here to hashtag of 008CFF. So I'm going to copy it, then I'll paste it here also. Now let's do for the Google Plus. I'll change the color to be hashtag of 00FF04. Then I'll copy it, then hashtag, then I'll paste. All right, so let's see now it's working. All right, we have our form completed. So I hope you find it helpful, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to give you more useful content and more useful designs that we'll do in future. So in my next video, I'll be creating a video on how to use Font Awesome. So you just have to follow up, and please make sure you subscribe for you to get notified anytime I drop a new video. And just click on the subscribe button, now like this video, comment, and just just do the needful. All right, so thank you guys, that's it. See you in the next video.